welcome to the Warrior Athletica channel, where I discuss all things health and fitness, both mental health and physical fitness. Today's topic of discussion will be based on my recent Substack article at athenaangelique.substack.com. Today's article will make me have to use potential code language because of the platform that I may be posting this video on. So just bear with me on my not so code words, but just to try and keep this video on the platform in which I posted it. So in my article, which is titled here, The Hidden Brain Crisis, a new study reveals that these jabs are linked to mental instability and societal collapse. And a recent preprint, June 6th of this year, showed there's an association between the 2021 jab and neuropsychiatric conditions. And it showed that these jabs were linked to 86 serious neuropsychiatric disorders, as you can see in the picture on my Substack, to talk about ideations, thoughts, schizophrenia, brain clots, depression, violent behavior, cognitive decline, and delusion, in order of magnitude from 50 times to 3,000 times greater. This is a big deal. Have you ever wondered since 2021's interventions that people, friends, family members just haven't been right lately? They've just completely changed. They used to text, call, invite you out. They were totally different people. Well, there might be a reason for it, and this study might explain why. And we've seen a rise of mental instability in society, especially these past 5 years. People are still wearing masks today. People are still wearing gloves. People are still avoiding public society, and they're just locked in this fear and this mental psychosis. And we've seen that a lot of people are just raging. They're very angry over very little things. And so what we see in this particular study, it analyzed over 34 years of data from the CDC, FDA, VAERS system, and it compared the mRNA intervention with all other interventions and all other jabs. And it came out when it compared the 2021 intervention with the flu intervention, they even saw cognitive impairment adverse events over 47 higher, psychiatric illness, 28 adverse events, including anxiety and psychosis, and unaliving oneself or unaliving others by 11 adverse events linked to this. And against all other interventions, this signals persist with a PRR of 26.8 for cognitive issues, 28.6 for psychiatric disorders, and 14 for unaliving or unaliving others. These are alarming safety signals regarding neuropsychiatric conditions following this intervention. Many experts called for an immediate global moratorium on these interventions. The Surgeon General of Florida called for a halt for the use of the interventions. And looking at this line, the FDA and the CDC have always played it fast and loose with that particular safety, but they've played fast and loose with a lot of your safety by authorizing medications that have later been pulled off the market from serious adverse events, Vioxx being one of them. And hernial meshes and other interventions were once FDA approved with no problem, and then the adverse events started coming. We've been seeing a lot of brain fog and societal breakdown in our society lately, and that VAERS reported over 1.6 million intervention adverse events since 2021, with neuropsychiatric cases surging post the rollout, showing that these interventions, though massively touted to just stay in one area, has been completely invalidated, and these can cross the blood-brain barrier, potentially triggering inflammation that cascades into cognitive decline and psychiatric turmoil. But we must also keep in mind that a Harvard study conducted in 2010 found the VAERS database truly represents only 1% of adverse events. Either they can't report it, their reports were booted out of the system, or doctors don't want to report it because it makes them look bad, it makes the system look bad. I mean, you got to remember that doctors are highly paid off from big pharma lobbyists. Not all of them, but a lot of them are. So that when a study like this recent preprint identifies strong neuropsychiatric safety signals in bears, the reality is it could be just the tip of the iceberg. And it's not just post 2020 stress, it's a perfect storm. We're seeing that unaliving oneself rates have climbed 30% from 2010 to 2020, and unaliving others have spiked 45% in major cities during 2020 to 2022. And now tie that to the study's findings, 153-fold PRR for unaliving oneself ideation post mRNA injection is at was discovered to be very, very high. So we have to look at the bigger picture. What have we seen in society since this rollout? We are seeing a lot of people becoming very divisive and arguing over ridiculous things. They have lost their sense of reality. They've lost their sense of control. We're seeing women or elderly women, not elderly, but older women in a baseball stadium fighting over a baseball from a little kid. We're seeing people just this week because Orange Man Bad said don't take Tylenol. We're seeing pregnant women overdosing on Tylenol just to go against what Orange Man Bad says. Like common sense, people, listen. Forget your TikTok challenges, forget all that. Like, where is society's brains? This might be one of I hate to laugh, but we are seeing people do some drastic things, including to what happened to Charlie Kirk, what's happening in churches across the country, what's happening in schools. We are seeing that something is triggering these minds. These neuropsychiatric disorders are skyrocketing, and there has to be more than a standard explanation um, of just, oh, that's just the way it is. Well, this intervention in 2021 might have chemically altered enough brains to to produce what we're seeing now. And we have to think that what's interesting is the federal government has finally backed down with enough surgeon generals and enough doctors calling on the federal government. Hey, the federal government has decided to make this suggestion for mRNA jabs to be for 65 and older, high risk people, and that insurers are no longer forced to cover the cost of these jabs. While certain states have decided to fight back, to include the state of Arizona, Oregon, Washington, California, Hawaii, Pennsylvania, and Colorado, to name a few. They basically said, okay, well, that's what the federal government says. Here's what the state says. The state says that you won't need a prescription and your insurance has to cover it, and you could be 6 months or older. That's it. They're still going to do these interventions, offer them in their states, and make it that it's available without prescription against the federal government's recommendations. Now, we have to consider who benefits from this. Obviously, everyone who has wanted this intervention, who has wanted to be boosted by this intervention, has had it numerous times since the rollout. So why now? Why doubling down now? It's either in cooperation with Big Pharma because their cash cow has dried out and they need to keep lining their pockets. These politicians get kickbacks all the time from Big Pharma lobbyists. I mean, Bernie Sanders was called out for it. Elizabeth Warren was called out for it. And I'm sure there are many others in our Congress, in our Senate, that get kickbacks from these Big Pharma lobbyists. And, some of them just want to double down. Now, you got to think about, too, also, what are they making way for in the future? Because if these states are acting this way over an intervention that was released in 2021, imagine any future intervention. They're telling you what they're going to do in the future. And so, in broader context, we have to consider what is going on here and encourage people who are experiencing these violent outbursts, these violent attitudes towards other people, uh, regardless, like it could be over a shirt, it could be over missing a flight, it could be over something so simple. If you're noticing friends and family members acting irrationally on a regular basis, it might be time to suggest some mental health intervention before it's too late, before they make or do anything drastic. I mean, with what happened to Charlie Kirk, we saw a whole bunch of people come out of the woodwork on either side getting people canceled and saying horrible things and potentially being deserved to be canceled in some cases. Again, I don't really agree with restricting speech, but some people have gone way too far. I mean, we do have the Second Amendment in this country, but anyway, I digress. If you see friends and family members acting irrationally, it may be time to step in and suggest some mental health counseling, suggest that maybe they go seek help before it becomes a major issue. And one thing I would like to cover is that Dr. Peter McCulloch has developed this protocol for dealing with base spike detoxification. When I met him back in 2021, he had this protocol that he was formulating and he just tweaked it to make it even more effective based upon his application of the research and what he's seeing in his patients. And so if you're still feeling any of these effects, like physical, psychological, maybe this base spike detoxification is for you. And it includes bromelain, nattokinase, curcumin, and then it talks about if you have any of these particular antibodies, what you can consider adding. And in my research and what I found on different YouTube channels, as far as doctors go and what they've discovered with their patients, hyperbaric oxygen therapy, red light therapy, and CBD may also be good to help with this spike detoxification and to make your psycho and your physiological symptoms improve. And so another thing, obviously, this, like I said, this is a health and fitness channel. I would advocate both cardiovascular fitness and physical fitness and lifting weights as a means of helping relieve your stress, helping to center your mind. I think cardiovascular activity makes a lot of people feel wonderful because you're inhaling, you're getting the oxygen circulating, the blood circulating through the system. You may be outdoors, getting some vitamin D, getting some sun, and it's really good for you to just not only do cardiovascular activity, but lifting weights as well. It has been proven to be one of the biggest antidepressants in the world, and it releases healthy endorphins for you, and it makes you feel good, even though, sometimes at the time you don't think it does. But there are so many people who I talk to that say once they get their cardio workout in the morning, they are good to go for the rest of the day. They feel accomplished. They feel relaxed. They feel like, that weight is off their shoulders, the stress. They start their day with like a clear head. Because a lot of times people you talk to who go for a run before work or ride their bike before work, they say, wow, I was able to get my thoughts out. I was able to organize myself for the day. You don't have to love it. A physical fitness could kind of be like a love-hate thing. It could be like, listen, I hate what I'm doing it at the time, but you know what? I feel so much better when I'm done. You don't always have to love it, but you do have to do it. Or your body's going to force you to do it. Your body's going to force you to pay attention to it one way or another. Why not get ahead of it? Get out there and do some cardio and lift some weights and really improve your mental health. And so I just want to let you know that there are things out there for you. You are not alone. The fitness community is huge. We're all over Instagram and Facebook. We're a very supportive group. I mean, there are tons of Facebook groups of support for health and fitness. There are also a lot of Facebook groups and other groups to support the mRNA intervention injured as well. If you are injured, you are not alone, and you could find those groups across social media. They are not banned as much as they were back then. And if you're seeking help, or if you're seeking help for friends and family, they're a great resource for you. I hope this helped. Stay tuned for future videos on this topic for health and fitness. And just know that it's never too late to start, but an ounce of prevention is worth of a pound of cure. You know what I mean? Something like that. You know what I mean? But anyway, thank you for watching. Subscribe, share this video if you really enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next video.